This is your paranormal tour guide, and I ask you, are you ready to hear some spine-tingling stories about some of the most haunted places in New York? These are not just any ghost stories. These are tales of terror that will leave you wondering if what you just heard was real or simply a figment of your imagination. Prepare yourself for the chilling tales of the Rolling Hills Asylum, the Hinsdale House, the Amityville Horror House, and the legendary Sleepy Hollow. These stories are not for the faint of heart, so if you're easily scared, now might be the time to turn back. But if you're ready to take the plunge into the unknown, then let's begin. Number 1. The Rolling Hills Asylum. Legend has it that the Rolling Hills Asylum, located in the small town of East Bethany, New York, is haunted by the ghosts of its former patients and staff members. But the truth may be far more sinister. The asylum was built in 1827 as a poorhouse, where the destitute and mentally ill could seek refuge. Over the years, it became overcrowded and understaffed, and conditions for the patients were deplorable. There were reports of abuse, neglect, and even torture. Many patients were left to die in squalor, without proper medical care or attention. And then, there were the experiments. The staff at Rolling Hills Asylum were known to conduct strange and disturbing experiments on the patients. Some were injected with experimental drugs, while others were subjected to electroshock therapy and other painful treatments. But the most notorious experiment was known as the lobotomy room. Patients who were deemed unmanageable or difficult were taken to the room, where a crude form of lobotomy was performed on them. The lobotomies left many patients permanently disfigured and mentally disabled, their lives ruined by the horrors they had endured. But the staff at Rolling Hills Asylum were never held accountable. The asylum continued to operate for decades until it was finally shut down in the 1970s. And that should have been the end of it, but it wasn't. Today, the Rolling Hills Asylum is abandoned, left to rot in the middle of nowhere. But many claim that it is far from empty. Visitors to the asylum report hearing strange noises, seeing ghostly figures moving in the shadows, and feeling an inexplicable sense of dread. Some even claim to have seen the ghost of a young girl who is said to have died in the asylum after being subjected to a brutal lobotomy. But the most terrifying phenomenon is the sound of screams. Visitors report hearing screams of agony and terror, as if the ghosts of the patients are still trapped within the asylum's walls, reliving their nightmare over and over again. And some say that if you listen closely enough, you can hear the sounds of strange experiments being conducted in the dark corners of the asylum. So if you ever find yourself near East Bethany, New York, be sure to steer clear of the Rolling Hills Asylum. The ghosts of its tortured patients still roam the halls, and they are not kind to visitors. Number 2. The Hinsdale House. The Hinsdale House gained notoriety in the 1970s when a family moved into the house and began experiencing unexplained phenomena, including strange noises, objects moving on their own, and apparitions. Over the years, numerous paranormal investigators have visited the Hinsdale House and reported similar experiences. Some have even claimed to have captured evidence of ghosts on camera and audio recordings. The house is now privately owned and no longer open to the public, but it remains a popular destination for paranormal enthusiasts and ghost hunters. So if you're ever in the area and feeling brave, consider checking out the Hinsdale House. But be warned, the ghosts that haunt the house are said to be extremely active and not to be trifled with. Number 3. The Amityville Horror House. Deep in the heart of Amityville, New York, there is a house that has become synonymous with evil. It is said that the house is cursed, that it was built on an ancient burial ground, and that the spirits of the dead still haunt its halls. The story of the Amityville Horror House began in 1974, when Ronald DeFeo Jr. brutally murdered his entire family in their sleep. The house sat empty for over a year until George and Kathy Lutz and their children moved in. Soon after they moved in, the Lutz family reported experiencing unexplained paranormal activity. They claimed to hear strange noises, see ghostly apparitions, and even feel an unseen presence touching them. But the most chilling incident occurred when the family's daughter claimed to have befriended a demonic pig named Jody, who appeared to her in the form of a ghostly image. The family fled the house after only 28 days, leaving all of their belongings behind. Their story became the basis for the book and subsequent movie, The Amityville Horror. But the truth behind the story may be even more disturbing than the legends. Some speculate that the Lutz family fabricated the haunting as a way to profit from the notoriety of the house. Others believe that the house is truly haunted by the ghosts of the DeFeo family, who were brutally murdered there. Some even claim that the house is a portal to hell, and that the demonic presence is still there, waiting to prey on unsuspecting visitors. Today, visitors to the Amityville Horror House report strange occurrences, including unexplained footsteps, doors opening and closing on their own, and the feeling of being watched by unseen entities. But whether the haunting is real or a hoax, the legend of the Amityville Horror House continues to fascinate and terrify those who dare to explore its dark history. Number 4. Sleepy Hollow. Deep in the heart of the Hudson Valley lies the sleepy little town of Sleepy Hollow. It's a place that's shrouded in mystery and legend, where the dead are said to rise and walk among the living. The most famous legend of Sleepy Hollow is that of the Headless Horseman. The Horseman was said to be a Hessian soldier who lost his head in battle during the American Revolution. His ghost was said to haunt the woods around Sleepy Hollow, riding through the night on his spectral horse and seeking out victims to decapitate with his sword. The legend of the Headless Horseman came to life in the early 1800s when a school teacher named Ichabod Crane arrived in Sleepy Hollow. Ichabod was a nervous and superstitious man who believed in ghosts and goblins. He became obsessed with the legend of the Headless Horseman and was scared of encountering him. One fateful night, Ichabod was riding home from a party when he encountered the Headless Horseman. The ghostly figure chased him through the woods, wielding his sword and laughing like a maniac. Ichabod tried to outrun the horseman, but he was no match for the spectral horse. The next morning, Ichabod's horse was found wandering without him. His hat was found nearby, along with a shattered pumpkin, but Ichabod himself was never seen again. Some say that he was carried off by the Headless Horseman, never to be seen again. Others say that he fled the town in fear and started a new life elsewhere. But the people of Sleepy Hollow know the truth. They know that the Headless Horseman still rides through the woods, seeking out victims to decapitate with his sword. They know that the legend of Sleepy Hollow is very much alive, and that the dead still walk among the living. And that's it for these bone-chilling tales of haunted places in New York. We hope you enjoyed hearing about these fascinating, yet creepy locations. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more scary stories and paranormal content. You never know, maybe one day you'll even get to experience the supernatural for yourself. And if you happen to run into any ghosts or ghouls, tell them the paranormal tour guide sent you.